we do the official open and get going. But I know, of course, more and more people are anticipating us a little more. So I'm sure we've got a decent amount already waiting on us. Meantime, because I'm slacking, I need to bring up the chat.
Yes, that's what I'm missing.
So if anybody is watching at the moment, I'm sure you're getting some really riveting video right now. All right, there we go. We got 3 watching at least.
3 is a good start.
I like 3. Let me mute that one. Go. Awesome. So Eford Garage, Space Rag, America Bumper to Bumper, all 3 in at the moment. And so that will just get right into it. So welcome to the Car Guy and SixFan show. This week, of course, it is on my channel. I am SixFan of the Car Guy and SixFan equation. So I'm Grant Tommy, and this is my channel, Straight SixFan. Thanks for finding your way here. On my channel, I like to focus on offbeat hot rodding, which I define as budget-minded, relatable, creative builds. But as I mentioned, I am only half of the equation, so I'll turn it over to Car Guy.
Yeah, thanks, Grant. And it's always very exciting to come upon these Thursday evening live feeds. I really, really enjoy being able to do this. As Grant said, my name is Car Guy, or Old Car Auto Guy. First name is Jason. And my channel basically is about the day in the life of my used car dealership in small town Canada, the automotive projects that we do on that channel, as well as the occasional shenanigan. So we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and as we're getting into it, we see our friend, mutual friend, Driven by Gears, stoked to
Hey,
finally make one of
Tony.
our shows. Yeah, Tony. And then Client Graphics. I think I might know who it is, but this might be a new channel to me. He or she comments, our show is so amazing, it's life changing. So thanks for that.
Woohoo! One life at a time. We're changing it.
Yeah, the world's gonna be such a better place because of Car Guy and SixFan. But one of the things I wanted to kind of get in the habit of with our show now, and so just a quick recap. If this is your first one, maybe it's not. A lot of you guys have a lot of familiar faces. You know, this is a new joint venture from Jason and I, as we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. It's also a reason to help us get up our watch times. But I wanted to kind of encourage those who are joining in right now. First off, you know, the obligatory smash the like button thing. But I'm more excited to encourage you guys to share the link to this live stream, or to challenge you guys. So share the link to the live stream and let's get as many people in here as we can. I think to date our record is 22 people on the live stream at one time. So if we could break that record, I'm all for it. So I kind of wanted to throw that challenge out there. If you guys could help us with that, we'd most definitely appreciate it. But you know, Jason and I we aren't picky. We'll take the likes as well. So we'll take whatever we can get. We're pretty shameless in that respect.
Yeah, we're not, we've got broad shoulders. We can take the criticism too. So don't be afraid to comment down below and let us know what you think. And I see we got some people joining in there. You had mentioned a couple of them already. And we got Kip from America Bumper to Bumper, Space Rag, Terry from Eford's Garage, Client Graphics, Driven by Gears, Big Boy Bushcraft. And Big Boy Bushcraft is a buddy of mine right here in St. Stephen, who I stumbled upon yesterday. And I found out that he has a YouTube channel and we've subscribed to each other. So, Dick, thanks for joining in. And again, we've also got Johnson963, who has joined up with us.
Yeah, Johnson T's been one of my longtime followers, and so it's great having him on. He's a good. I know he's been in several times on my Know Your Neighbors scene, and yeah, Bushcraft. I want to give you a hat tip because I noticed you subscribed to me today. So, Jason, thanks for sending Big Boy Bushcraft my way. This is gonna be a good one. So another thing, if this is your first show, wanted to oh yes, and Doug Sweener now is in the chat, but just another
Hey, Doug, thanks for joining.
another quick reminder, or the format to the show is going to try to stay as close to the same as possible, unless it sucks from week to week. But we like to kind of kick it off and talk cars at the beginning, do a little automotive chat. So while sometimes we make it focus on automotive news, some it's just meant to be any car topic. And so it's this week I thought what would be interesting because I'm a big Courtney Hanson fan, and they just she's producing a new show, starting a new show. The one that got away, a new car show. It's sort of like a spin off of Overhauling, where they're wanting to help out someone with a car project. Maybe it's a car they've had for a long time, and some life changing event happened where they couldn't work on their car anymore. This is like one of those shows to help people get their dream car back. So anyway, I say all of that it kind of got me thinking. This was the first week for that show. What I've noticed lately is the what used to be the Velocity channel now is called Motor Trend on. Well, I have Sling TV, or on cable. I don't know if that's universal across all of them. There came a time like I think we all remember our the first car shows were like on Spike TV, which is formerly the Nashville network. But like some of those good ones like Hot Rod Magazine original, it became Horsepower TV and all that stuff. Um, I love those shows, and I think that's partially why I'm doing what I'm doing on YouTube, is because I kind of grew up like that was a dream job to me. But this Velocity channel has sort of proliferated all these shows, and I think there's just kind of a lot of like crap shows out there. Like I love cars, but I just can't get engaged in like the majority of them. So it got me thinking. It might just be kind of an interesting topic to throw out this week and get an understanding. Like, what are your top 3 car shows? So I'll lob that over to you, Jason, and if you want to sound off on any of what I just said too, like feel free to interject there too. But what are your top 3 car shows at the moment?
Yeah, before I get into my top three car shows, I'll just throw out there that as a young kid, and Grant, you're 10 years younger than I am, so you might not even remember the show, although it played into a couple of different spin-offs of the same show, is Shade Tree Mechanic. And where you had Sam Amolo and Sam somebody else, and those two guys did basically what we do on our shows, is just simple little tune-ups and stuff like that to shows, and that kind of evolved into the car shows that we see today. And I get what you're saying about a lot of these hokey style scripted type car shows, and although you want to see the cars, you just can't stand to take the scripted antics and BS that comes along with it. So I guess the first one that seems to be a real popular one right now that I really am kind of into is Vegas Rat Rods, and I think Grant, you and I share that as a one of our favorite shows, and basically because Steve Darnell is really hands-on with his designs, and I don't think even when the cameras are rolling, he is who he is on camera too. So I don't believe there's any scripting in that. Granted, they do sit them down for their interviews, but the same thing with Bitch and Rides. You know, Dave Kindig, I've always said him and um, Chip Foose are the two guys who, if I was to give them a vehicle, I would give them 100% free reign on the design, colors, everything, because they just know how to do it. And the other show that I really enjoy watching is Jay Leno's Garage, because he is so eclectic with his um, with his collection that you could have anything from $1 million sports car to, I think his most recent one is a mini, all original. So those are my three shows. So Vegas, Rat Rods, Bitch and Rise, and Jay Leno's Garage.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on Chip Foose. I've been off and on Bitch and Rides that I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think part of me is I think YouTube has turned me into a snob of some sorts, because it's like there's this balance of entertainment value versus like actually showing the cars. So actually, one of mine that I actually do like that actually has like all those cheesy like pun jokes in it that are really horrible, but I think it's just a different balance or different makeup of different things. Is I want to make sure I get it right. Detroit Muscle, yeah, and that shifted from It used to be Spike, and then it went to Velocity, and now that's on History Channel. History Channel has the Power Nation series, and of course, Ian now has his own spinoff. Ian is Big Tire Garage now, but he used to be on Extreme 4x4. I actually don't mind some of those pun crappy jokes because I've expected it now. I've learned it, but because they do such a good job of the way they produce it, showing you how the work is done without being too like over the top. I mean, they don't show you everything, but they do a really good job with the editing of showing you how something goes together. So I like Detroit Muscle, but yeah, Vegas Rat Rods is one as well. One of the ones I will say I did find on Motor Trend that I'm kind of on the fence about, that it's not too bad. I like the guy's style on some of the builds, some of them I don't. Is it's called Full Custom Garage. So it looks like it's only like one season in, but it's a one man operation, and so there's something there. But it's not definitely not the top. But then I think from a production standpoint, like a style that I would aspire to be is the guys that the show is called Detroit Steel. It's the guys of Detroit Steel Wheels and Mob Steel Builds. They just they do a great job with their B-roll, with like just walking through, like they plan how they're gonna walk through the shop. I think if I had to like aspire to be something with my YouTube channel, uh, Detroit Steel is probably the show that I think would take the cake for me.
Yeah, and as we kind of wrap up this little topic on the on our favorite shows, I see that Terry from Ephers Garage kind of jumped in there and mentioned that his favorite three were David Gears, and Stacy David has had several shows over the years, and right back to I think the first one was called Trucks, and so yeah, I really like Stacy David, uh, Top Gear, and as well as the first season of Car Warriors. And also, I want to go back to just right quick. I know we had a couple of people jump in here. Is VF555 has jumped in and said hello, and we've also got Classic Ride Society has joined us again. Thanks for jumping in, and also Big Boy Bushcraft. His first name is Dick, and he also wanted to make mention that he's bought 4 vehicles from me. So yes, Dick has been a very good customer over the years, and we certainly appreciate that. So as we jump forward in the lineup tonight, we wanted to talk a little bit about our channel updates. And Grant, I started with the last topic first, so you go ahead and jump into this one.
Yeah, so just kind of keeping you guys up to date on our projects, what we may have done on our projects since our last video. For Project Low Fairmont, really, I don't have as big of an update as I'd like. I have continued on with my stain samples that I mentioned I was going to do for the gauge pod. And I actually fear that the same thing is going to happen with the last time, even though I suspect last time I mentioned I mixed up first coat of the stain and then swapped for the second coat. I actually think I'm going 4 coats and I'm not mixing them up this time, but I actually think they are going to look dang near the same when I'm done. All right, now I'm at 4 versus 1, so we'll see how the Bombay mahogany ends up when I'm get 3 more coats on.
I liked either one of them, so whatever you go with, I'm sure is going to be fine. Uh, So on the live stream last week, Frank Finelli joined us, and Frank is a kind of a Dodge guy, and he knows, or based on my channel update from last week, was I was looking for some new heads for my car, and the specific heads are called J code heads for a 360 or a small block. And after the live feed, Frank sent me a private message saying that he knows a guy who knows a guy, and he's been in contact with that guy, and it's looking like there may be a possibility of finding some heads through this third hand friend of Frank's. So I've also got a couple of irons in the fire that I saw on a Facebook marketplace, and hoping to nail some of those down within the next couple of weeks. Now, Frank's friend is, I believe, in Pennsylvania somewhere, and which is really driving distance for me, so I could kind of go down there uh, and back likely in a day and a half. So I could probably go down, spend the night, and come back. and that would be a really good vlog for the channel to get down there and do that trip.
Yeah, that'd be great content. One other thing I did want to comment before we get too far. I am old enough to I do remember Shade Tree mechanics. So yeah, Sam and you're right. I couldn't come up with last names, but yeah, those were the original guys, and even my classic car was in that
Yeah,
original lineup too. But yeah, no, those were good. And Doug Sweener is really kind of sucking up to the hosts here. He said his top three um, car shows. Number one is Car Guy and SixFan show, of course. So
woo.
I, just to let you know, Doug, there are some other things that I know it's hard to believe, but that are maybe a little bit better than the two of us, but they do exist. Um, well, the other thing we wanted to always be a routine on this show is to talk about sort of like we're all small YouTubers here, so it's to talk about the struggles we're all facing and kind of as we learn tips and tricks, share them with you, but also get an understanding from you guys. What did you learn? And so we always wanted to kind of talk about just the young or the small YouTube channel struggles. And so I think the topic for me that I wanted to kind of touch base on or touch would be it's really it boggles my mind when I see what looks like an interesting video, but then you go to starting to watch it, and maybe someone's got kind of a long drawn out. They're not really getting to the point of what he thought it would be, um, but you see they have no like description to the video, and I just think that's so crucial or so important that I'm like, well, if I'm going to commit 14 minutes to watching this video that's supposedly going to be about this, I'll kind of pick on myself, I guess, a little bit, this international 1973 international street rod. Well, I want to know a little bit more about what that means, especially if the title in of itself isn't all that descriptive. So either tell me, because sometimes someone will just like make a video and I'll just say like 1973 International Lodestar. Okay, great. But what about it? And so when people leave you hanging without a description or without a better title, like even when I titled mine 1970, and don't don't get me wrong, I'm no master at the art of titling videos, but you can understand how if you just type 1973 International Lodestar versus 1973 International Lodestar uh, Street Machine, how you can get that creative juices flowing. Like, what do they mean by that? What could this be? And so the way I always say it is the way you want to try to title your videos is think about if you're bored out of your mind sitting in a hospital waiting room and you just come up with that weird ideas like, whoa, what if somebody made a street rod out of a 1973 International Harvester? Or
Yeah, and it's not like we're looking for when it comes to titling, we're not looking at necessarily the famed clickbait per se, but it's as close to that with the lure of attracting your attention without actually being clickbait.
yeah, yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Because otherwise, if I've typed in 1973 or I should International Lodestar Street Rod build, and I've got a dozen thumbnails to choose from, but they're not titled as close to what it's just like a Google search. When search engines, when you're not using Google or when you have a poor search engine and you type in something like, oh, should hit it right on the head, what I want. And like the first five options aren't even like coming close. You get discouraged and you just move on. Well, but anyway, enough about me, about my idea. Jason, what's kind of your tip and trick that you're seeing?
Well, the biggest thing that I'm finding right now is thumbnails. I really do, and I still struggle with thumbnails. And in fact, after last week's um, live stream, somebody who was on here, Schneidertron 3000, who was Josh Schneider, kind of private messaged me, and he gave me some constructive criticism and had mentioned that I need to do something with my thumbnails currently. One of the things that I started doing when I followed some credible YouTube creators was being consistent with your thumbnails. And so I started doing that with the same background and the same font and this and that, but I still didn't find that they jumped out and grabbed your attention. So I kind of recently, the last two videos have steered away from that, and I'm trying something new. And so that is something that I do struggle with is thumbnails with my with my package when I put it together. But I'm slowly looking outside the box when it comes to that. So um, I'm not sure what you do or if you have any issues with that or not, Grant. But I know it just seems to be always a big struggle for me.
Yeah, it's a constant struggle, the thumbnail science, if you will, and it's not one that I feel like I have comfortably cracked. I'm in a spot that's comfortable for me, but I don't. I'm sure I could do much better. I've tried to. I've learned. I think I think I was trying too hard before, but it's like if you look at some of the bigger ones, like they're really not. A lot of them aren't doing anything super special with their thumbnails. It's just a matter of kind of like an high, like in your face font that makes sure, because a thumbnail is this tiny on even your 22-inch monitor. Like, make sure you can read whatever you're trying to say on that. In my old thumbnail prototype, or I don't even know what I want to say, image style, the text was really hard to read. And it was black on white, so there's high contrast in it, but it wasn't. I don't think it was great. But right now I'm kind of focusing on other things, I think, than thumbnails. But I know there's plenty I could do to get better on that.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that I failed to remember, or when I first started doing this, was simply it's not just the 21-inch computer screen that people are going to see your thumbnails. It's on their small little 8.5-inch screen or 7-inch screen on their phone too. So you got to make sure that when they're doing that, it's jumping out there. So just again, before we jump any further, I see a couple of new faces in there. Blue Collar Dipper has joined us, and he is a challenge um, a dip channel down in Virginia, and he's a good buddy of mine. We've been following each other for quite a long time. He's getting ready to hit 1,000 subs. I saw somebody else jump in there a minute ago, and I've lost him. Impacts Garage and Gaming has joined us as well.
And once again, in case you're just now finding us, you are watching the CarrGuy and SixFan show. But the only other thing I'll say on thumbnails, yes, I'm using a very like large font right now, but I also am making sure I'm just taking my time to take a very specific conscious photo, high resolution photo for my thumbnail as well. I'm not relying on the auto generated one um, out of YouTube. And so I'm trying to think, okay, what in one photo really sells what this episode is about, and trying to be conscious that way. So, I mean, it's not that I'm not putting any effort into my thumbnails, but this has been my current streak of what I'm doing is sort of a test, a long-term test as to how well does this approach work. But
And Classic Ride Society has just made a good comment as well, saying that content is king. And I would agree 100%. If your content is crap, everything else could be great. But if content is crap, you're not going to get anywhere anyway. So the very, very first thing that I truly believe that you need to be focusing on is your content, because if it's not anything, people aren't going to watch it anyways. Doesn't matter what
yeah,
anything else is.
well, and I agree with what he's saying to some extent too, but where I disagree with him is that if you have the weak title and description, like how much great content have I missed out on over the years? Because it's just like, look, I only have so much time. I can't just like give somebody a 14-minute test drive, because I just can't consume. If I was doing that for every new piece of content I found, I couldn't get anything else done in my life. So, like, it's to be discoverable. You need to like try a little bit harder at. And I'm not even saying like, again, self-admittedly, Jason and I aren't the best at all of those. We might not even be the best at one of those in any one video. But you got to try at each of the compartments so you hopefully appeal to somebody that maybe the thumbnail works for them, maybe the description works for them, maybe it's the descriptive title works for them. But it's to not get too far down that route. We kind of wanted to like push it forward a little bit and talk about what our efforts have done over the past 3 weeks now. And just in the past week, I picked up. It looks like, boy, I had it written down here. So 16 subscribers. That was a great week because from week 1 to 2, it was 14. Now week 2 to 3, I picked up 16, and I'm resting at 834 subscribers. Jason, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm following suit pretty close. I gained 15 subscribers this week, and the week before it was 14 subscribers. So I think we're both of us are pretty well right on track, doing about 15, 14, 16, somewhere around there each week, and I'm happy with that, quite frankly.
And JR Hum, hey, thanks for dropping in the show. That's a new name. I did want to throw out, so if you guys have any questions for Jason or I, think of those right now. Start typing them in the chat. But we did want to, like, one of our commitments to the show is that it's never really longer than 30 minutes. So as we close out, we like to do channel shout outs. And so, Jason, I'll let you start. Who do you want to shout out this week?
Well, before I do that, I do want to mention J.R. Hum is my brother Jim, all the way out in Vancouver Island. So, Jim, thanks for joining the live stream. I really appreciate it. I see a couple of the new names. Harley and Nova has jumped in there as well. So, as we move on to our shout outs, I want to shout out somebody who was in the chat room tonight, or at least he was when we first started there. And that is Terry Eford, Eford's Garage. Now, Terry has a channel that is in his subscriber base is in the 800 range, and he's slowly getting up there to that 1,000 mark himself. And I really, I shouldn't have looked at the chat. I really want to highlight his channel because he is doing a low budget S10 V8 swap right now. And he's doing a lot of things with that truck. And it really has become something interesting, something that I anticipate uh, watching when each video comes out. So we will leave Terry's link in the description. I'll get Grant to do that once we go off air. And you guys can head over to Terry's page and check that out and make sure that you support him because he's almost there. He's this close to getting that 1,000 subscriber mark.
And here at the tail end, Novitaz has jumped in. So Sean, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining. I know it's here at the end, but we appreciate it. My shout out this week goes to formerly he went by the Open Air Garage, but he has since renamed his channel name into the acronym TOAG, and I do believe he puts a period after each of those. But Stan is doing a restoration on an old Jeep Wagoneer. He's down in West Texas. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Stan. I think he's kind of on a hiatus at the moment. He hasn't been putting out a lot of content, but he is much like Po Boy's Diesel. I'm kind of doing a hybrid shout out here. I didn't mean to do that, but Open Air Garage means exactly what he's saying. He's working outside most of the time. And so it's been a kind of a long drawn out build, but he's doing an AMC rebuild on that motor. So it's before Chrysler bought it. But Stan's been he's been there on the ground floor. I mean, probably he was one of my first 30 subscribers. So he's been with me for a long time. So I wanted to shout him out. And again, I'll leave his description down below, or I'll leave his link in the description below. But aside from Blue Collar Dipper's question for Jason, which I don't know if he really wants to answer that. but
Oh, jeez.
But Jason, since you get to close it out, one of our traditions is that the opposite of the host, the other guy gets to close it out. But I'll let you. We have a little more time than just the closeout. So if you have any parting shots, take the floor and then close us out.
Absolutely. So one last time, if you're new to this channel, the purpose of this channel is for us to help you guys grow and vice versa. So we want to make sure that this is a hangout for everybody. We encourage you to share the links that we provide to you so that you can invite other people to come watch us. You don't have to be car guys. You just have to be interested in watching car guys. And that's kind of what we're trying to do with these channels and grow. I am not going to entertain anything as to what Blue Collar Dipper has posted in the chat. So I just encourage you guys to go check that out. He's got a video coming out real quick. You're not going to want to miss. It is PG. I'll just say that. So when we get ready to when I get ready to close off my videos, I always want to end things on a positive note. So I'm going to do the same thing tonight, and I'm going to say to everybody, stay focused on the windshield, not the rearview mirror. I love you guys. God bless. Let's do this again next Thursday night on my channel.